My name is Thea Westbrook. I'm 28. Last Tuesday, I sat in a lawyer's office and watched my entire family celebrate getting millions from my grandfather's will while I held a yellowed envelope with nothing inside but a phone number. My sister laughed so hard she had to grip my mother's arm. My uncle raised his coffee like a toast. The attorney just sat there, hands folded, watching me the way you'd watch someone open a door that can't close again. Everyone in that room had already spent their inheritance in their heads before the ink dried. And me, I was the punchline, the college dropout, the girl who sells chairs for a living. They'd written me off years ago. And Granta's envelope was to them the final proof. But here's what none of them knew. Not my mother, not my sister, not my uncle, with his self-appointed title and his Cadillac. They didn't know what happens when the punchline picks up the phone and dials. Before I tell you the rest, if you enjoy this kind of story, take a moment to hit like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely mean it. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. Now, let me take you back to last Monday morning, the day before the will reading, when I got the call that Grandpa Harold was gone. The phone rings at 6:14 a.m. I know because I'm already up lacing my boots for the early shift at Birch and Stone, the furniture shop I manage in Holden. It's my mother. Diane Westbrook doesn't call before 9 unless something. Today it's both. Your grandfather passed last night, she says. No tremor and no pause. The attorney is reading the will tomorrow at 2. Homanan Pace, Newark, dressed presentable. She hangs up before I can say anything. I sit on the edge of my bed and press my palms flat against my knees. The room is still dark. Outside, a truck downshifts on Route 16. Grandpa Harold, 82 years old, built Westbrook Properties from a single duplex renovation in 1981 into commercial real estate operations spanning 3 counties, 40 employees, 6 active developments, a name that means something in Central Ohio. But to me, he was the man who kept sawdust in his shirt pockets and taught me how to sand a table edge until it felt like water under your fingers. Every Sunday, his workshop. Every Sunday, just us. I drive the 40 minutes to Granville. His house sits on 2 acres of old maple and gravel. When I pull up, but Nora's Lexus is already parked sideways near the porch. My sister never could park straight in a hurry. Through the kitchen window, I can see her pacing, phone clamped to her ear. Uncle Victor is on the porch, bourbon in hand at 9 a.m., talking to his wife in a voice he probably thinks is quiet. Finally, he says, it's time. My mother meets me at the front door. She looks me up and down, leans in close. I spoke with the attorney already. He's leaving everything to the people who earned it. She lets that sit. Wear something nice. Tomorrow, Thea. She walks away before I can ask what she means, but I already know. 4 months ago. Thanksgiving, this same house, 14 people around Harold's dining table, and I can still hear every fork. My mother stands at the head. She always takes over the announcements. And even in her father's house, and starts the round robin. She does this every year. Each person shares a win. Nora closed her second funding round for PropLink, my mother says, beaming. MBA Case Western now building. Real technology. The table claps. Grant, Nora's husband, squeezes her shoulder. Victor goes next. He talks about a development in Licking County. Uses the phrase strategic vision twice. Then it gets to me. And Thea, my mother says. She pauses the way a comedian pauses before the punchline. Thea is still at that little furniture place. She tilts her head. Selling chairs. Laughter, not loud. The polite kind that cuts deeper. I look down at my plate. Green beans and sliced turkey from the other end of the table. Grandpa Harold taps his glass. Once the room quiets, Ia manages that entire store. He says inventory, staff, accounts. That's called responsibility. My mother waves a hand. Dad, don't baby her. Victor leans over. If she wants to be taken seriously, she should go back to school. Harold says nothing else. But later, after dessert, after Victor's 3rd scotch, after Nora leaves early, I find him in the workshop. He's sitting on his stool running his thumb along a piece of walnut. He looks up at me, holds my gaze. For a long time. Don't ever believe a diploma tells people who you are. His voice is quiet, steady. I've taken care of things, Thea. I don't ask what he means. I wish I had. Tuesday morning, I put on the one blazer I own, navy, 2 years old, bought for a job interview I never went to, and drive my Honda Civic to Newark. Fed the parking lot at Haman and Pace is already a showroom. Nora steps out of her Lexus in a tailored black dress. Grant trails behind with a leather briefcase like he's heading to a deposition. Victor rolls up in his Cadillac Escalade, sunglasses on, even though it's overcast. His wife stays in the car. My mother arrives in an Uber. She sold her car 6 months ago. I know this because I saw the listing online, but she hasn't told anyone. People who owe money don't advertise it. Inside the lobby, Nora and Victor are talking in low, fast voices near the water cooler. $4 million in accounts at least, Nora says, plus the properties, maybe more. Victor nods. Real question. And the company who runs it now, they don't notice me until I sit down across from them in the waiting area. Nora glances over at her eyebrows lift a fraction. Oh, she says, you came. I don't answer. That's sweet, she adds. A small smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I'm sure Grandpa left you something. A small smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I'm sure Grandpa left you something. A card, maybe. I fold my hands in my lap. The fabric of the blazer is too stiff. I can feel the tag scratching the back of my neck. The conference room door opens. Roger Haman, Harold's estate attorney, stands in the frame, gray suit, reading glasses on a chain, expression carefully blank. The Westbrook family, we're ready. Everyone stands. Nora smooths her dress. Victor buttons his jacket. My mother lifts her chin. I walk in last. The conference room smells like old leather and printer ink. 8 chairs around an oval table. Portraits of former partners on the wall. Roger Haman opens a manila folder and begins, pursuant to the last will and testament of Harold James Westbrook dated March of this year, Victor gets the Lake Erie vacation house and $800,000 in cash. He nods like he expected more, but will take it. His hand finds the table, taps once. My mother receives the Columbus apartment and $600,000. She closes her eyes for half a second. Relief, not grief. Nora and Grant, $500,000 plus Harold's investment portfolio. Nora writes something in her phone immediately. Grant opens his briefcase, pulls out a folder of his own. They came prepared. Several cousins and the younger grandchildren receive education trusts. $200,000 each, standard. No surprises. Haman flips to the final page and to Thea Marie Westbrook. Every head turns. One sealed envelope, it to be delivered directly and opened only by the named recipient. He slides it across the table. A yellowed envelope, edges soft with age. My name in Harold's handwriting. The ink slightly faded. This wasn't written recently. I break the seal. Inside a single sheet of paper, a phone number in Harold's. Below it, one line. Call when you're ready, HW. That's it. No check, no property, no account number. The silence holds for exactly 3 seconds. Then Nora laughs. It starts as a snort and escalates into something she doesn't even try to control. Must be for some shelter for you to live in, she says. My mother turns away, but I can see her shoulders shaking. She's laughing, too. The whole room follows. Roger Haman doesn't laugh. He closes his folder and watches me. But the parking lot is bright, too bright. I'm standing next to my Civic with the envelope in my hand when my mother catches up. You see, she says, he knew you couldn't handle real money, Thea. That number is probably a financial counselor for people in your situation. She adjusts her purse strap. Call it. Get the help. Before I can respond, Victor appears behind her. He puts a hand on the roof of my car. Casual, the way people do when they want you to know they're bigger than you. Grip the steering wheel with my free hand. Who is this? My name is Raymond Alcott. Your grandfather appointed me 20 years ago. But we need to talk, Miss Westbrook. I need to pause here for a second because that moment sitting in that parking lot with my phone pressed against my ear was the moment everything split into before and after. If you've ever been dismissed by the people who were supposed to believe in you, you know exactly what that silence feels like before someone finally says your name like it matters. Hit subscribe if you want to hear what Raymond told me next. And tell me in the comments, have you ever opened something everyone said was worthless and found out it was everything? Raymond Alcott speaks the way attorneys speak when they've rehearsed something for years and finally get to say it. Your grandfather established an irrevocable trust in 2005. You are the sole beneficiary. I stare through the windshield as a pigeon lands on the hood of Victor's Cadillac. I don't understand a trust. I can't discuss the specifics over the phone, Miss Westbrook. We'll need to meet in person. Bring valid identification, driver's license, birth certificate, social security card. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, my office in Columbus. I write the address on the back of a gas receipt. Mr. Alcott, why me? He's quiet for a moment. When he speaks again, his voice is different. Give, but because I fell. That's the one I trust with what I built. He watched his family for 20 years after that. Thea, you were the only one who showed up. My throat tightens. He also built in a condition. Raymond continues, if you never called this number, if you threw the envelope away or ignored it, the trust would transfer to a charitable foundation permanently. Harold wanted the person who received this to come forward on their own. No prompting, no hand-holding. So, if I hadn't called, everything would have gone to charity. Your family would have kept only what was in the will. I press my forehead against the steering wheel. The vinyl is cool. I'll be there at 10 o'clock, I say good. And Miss Westbrook, yes. Your grandfather spent 20 years making sure the right person would pick up this phone. You just proved him right. I hang up. And for the first time all day, I cry. Not because of money, because Harold believed me when I didn't even believe myself. That evening, yes, my mother throws what? The next morning, I arrived at Raymond Alcott's office in Columbus carrying nothing but a folder of identification documents and the envelope Grandpa had left behind. The office was modest, lined with law books and old photographs. One picture immediately caught my attention. It showed Grandpa Harold standing beside a much younger Raymond in front of a half-finished duplex. Raymond smiled when he noticed me looking. He explained that he and Grandpa had worked together for more than 30 years, building not only properties but a plan that very few people knew existed. After verifying my identity, Raymond opened a thick leather binder. He calmly explained that 20 years earlier Grandpa had transferred every ownership interest in Westbrook properties into an irrevocable trust. The company, its commercial developments, long-term investments, and controlling shares had never been part of the estate that my family celebrated the day before, their inheritance. I signed the papers because I finally understood what my grandfather had been trying to teach me. Real wealth is not measured by money, it is measured by character. The next morning my uncle walked into the company expecting to become the new boss. Instead he found security waiting with a letter informing him that he had been removed pending an investigation. My mother and the rest of the family were speechless when they learned that the company had never been part of the will. It had belonged to the trust all along and I was the only person my grandfather trusted to protect it. I never celebrated their defeat. I simply honored the man who believed in me when nobody else did. I kept every honest employee. I expanded the business. I created scholarships for students who had to leave college to care for their families just like I once did. My grandfather gave me far more than an inheritance. He gave me a chance to prove that kindness and integrity always outlast greed. If this story touched your heart, remember that the people who underestimate you today may one day witness your greatest success. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family, and tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place.